He's good now. Let him know he's good. He's good.
Good evening and welcome in to the Wild Sports Show. To the right of your screen is Pops, and I am QMP. We are your favorite father-son duo talking sports. And in today's show, y'all, we're going to keep the Cowboys offseason outlook going. We're going to also go around the league. We're going to go around the talk about a little bit of NBA for a bit, and then we're going to go into, the world of college basketball. And then we got a nice question of the day for y'all. So we appreciate y'all tuning in to tonight's show. Listen, don't forget, wherever y'all watch y'all podcast, whatever your favorite podcast platform is, we are there. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate y'all tuning in and looking forward to bringing y'all an awesome show. Pops, you ready to talk to the people, sir?
Well, I'm glad to see him one more time, and we'll see what they have on their mind.
All right. So first up, y'all, like I said, we're going to talk about the Cowboys offseason outlook, continue that conversation. So first up, y'all, listen, as you have heard Pops and I say, we are fans of Brian Schottenheimer. We are fans of Brian Schottenheimer being the coach of the Cowboys, and just the things that he's been doing. We appreciate the nuggets that he's been giving. And this is one I wanted to point out, Pops, when they were at the league meetings. What was that, a couple weeks ago? And I thought it was pretty interesting what he said. But if you look at the clip here, guys, as you notice in this clip, he's not wearing sunglasses. Now, he was part of NFL Live, did an interview with them, and they're out in the bright sun in San Diego, right? So as you'll see, he's not wearing sunglasses. The other two on that panel were. And the story behind that was, as you'll see in the clip here, it says, "My father taught me as a young coach, coaches do not wear sunglasses. The players have to see your eyes when you're coaching them." Pops, give me your thoughts on that quote, and just your thoughts about, once again, about Brian Schottenheimer, and just when you see things like that, when you see what he says, how does that make you feel about him being our coach?
Well, a lot of times when you look at a person's eyes, they say that you can tell whether the person's lying or not. So those shades might eventually hide the lying in your eyes or whatever, but he wanted to be real with the players to let them know that whenever you looked at his eyes, it was more or less mentioning the fact that he was going to be telling you the truth of what he said. Because if you have wandering eyes, some people think you're lying about what you're saying.
Doesn't this make you feel even better about him being the coach? You know what I mean? It's like you have some coaches that are sons of big time coaches, things of that nature. But it just seems like he's gained a lot from his father, who was the late great Marty Schottenheimer, and he's
Right.
really utilizing those things he's been taught by his dad to really put those things in motion as a head coach of the Cowboys. So just give me even more thoughts about that. Just do you think that him being son of Marty Schottenheimer and really gaining some information from him, really learning and learning and learning, do you think that's going to bode well for us as we continue to have him as our coach?
Well, I think it will, because his father was really, to me, was a great coach. And the thing about it is that he probably was around him long enough to know what it will take or what you should do to become a successful coach in the NFL. And like I said, I got to see him in a lot of games, or coach a lot of games. And so hopefully his son is taking up some of the mantle in there. And we'll see this as time progresses, because it's going to take him time. He's going to be better, but we just had to give him time to actually do some things that his father did in the years as they come forth.
Thank you for that, Pops. Now we got a comment from Horror Flick Chick, Marty. That's the name I know, LOL. Yeah, yeah. Now listen, Marty Schottenheimer was a freaking awesome coach, uh, winning a lot of games for sure. And Texas Kings 88, my man Rico checking in. Appreciate you, brother. Got a comment from him, says he's got a lot of old school ways, in my opinion, we need in the locker room and on the field. Agreed, 100%. Pops, you actually mentioned that before. And I believe when we had Prime on the show previously, he mentioned that as well, that, that giving us that Jimmy Johnson kind of feel, like that's kind of the vibes we're getting. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So we're trending in the right direction, and you're on to something there, Texas Kings 88. Appreciate the comment, but yeah, he's bringing that back into the locker room, and that That makes a big difference, and I think we're going to continue to show that change of culture, from what we have been used to with previous coaches to what he's instilling in them now, and in and around that locker room. So we're going to see, Pops, as you said, time will tell, right? Time will
That's
tell.
correct. Yeah.
So y'all, we're gonna move on to the next clip in regards to the Cowboys offseason outlook, and kind of getting into the draft a bit more. And as you see pictured in this clip, this is David Bailey, who's a defensive lineman out of Texas Tech. Now, as you'll read in that clip there, it says the Dallas Cowboys have repeatedly had discussions with the Arizona Cardinals about moving up to the number 3 spot in the draft to select David Bailey from Texas Tech, according to draft analyst Todd McShay. Now, as you remember, Todd McShay was part of the draft coverage for ESPN. He got let go with all the layoffs, things of the nature, but he's still doing draft analysis and things of that nature on his own. So I'll see your comments, guys. You got my word. We're gonna get to those. You got my word. We appreciate you guys chiming in. But Pops, you heard what I just read about us in discussions with the Arizona Cardinals about us possibly moving up to the number 3 spot, right? Put that
Right.
clip back up for me, guys. Um, so with that being said, do you think that would be a good move for us to move up to number 3 to grab this young man?
Well, a lot of times when you move up to number 3, you actually may have something else in mind. And I'm hoping that Dallas will probably get this young man. But a lot of times, again, I say in the draft, there are moves that are made or said that they're going to be made, and it doesn't actually pan out. And there are also those teams that see who you're going to try to pick, and they might have tried to jump the gun on you. So you may need to be kind of quiet about that on how they may try to proceed with that because it could cost them this young man. So we'll just watch and see what happens with this.
As you know, Pops, our first pick is number 12 for the first round, right?
Right,
So to move up from 12 to 3, that's not going to be a cheap move.
right,
So that means we're going to be giving up some draft capital in order to make a move as significant as that. Now, with that being said, I'm hearing that in order to get the blue chip prospect that they really want, they may have to, because all the guys that they want to get may have gone away by the time it gets to pick 12. So they may not be able to stand pat at 12. They may have to move up. So I don't know. We'll see. But again, they may need to make a move to get the player that they really want. If they really want one of these blue chip prospects. Hey, let's go back to that clip from Brandon. My man, appreciate you always commenting, brother. So Brandon says Marty wore shades as the Chargers coach. How do we explain this? Look, man, come on, man. Now, I'm just telling you what the man said about wearing sunglasses in that particular interview, Brandon. Here you go, brother. You do with the injuries, and now you're talking about this. Now, you right. He did wear sunglasses in San Diego. You right. But more often than not, he did not. So, anyway, I appreciate you, though, brother. Sidney Daniels chiming in. Appreciate you, brother. Jimmy Johnson feeling, I don't know about that. Listen, man, I'm just telling you, he's not Jimmy Johnson, but I'm saying you kind of get that mindset when it comes to him instilling a different culture within that Cowboys locker room. And we're just talking about comparing coaches of the past. You know what I mean? Comparing him to, Mike McCarthy and all the others that have come in before him, Wade Phillips, all those guys, Jason Garrett. It's different. I just feel like it's different. And Pops, I know you agree.
Well,
So
another thing about it is this: is that I hate to say it like this, but sometimes the players need their butts kicked, or we need to let them know that if they don't perform properly or whatever, or they act like they don't want to be with the team, well, then you have to put the hammer down on them and let them know, hey, we're not going to be passive about this. If you want to win in the NFL or be physical or whatever they need them to be, then they need to put the hammer down on them because some of those other coaches they've had, they've kind of been kind of light or whatever and acting like they didn't have that actual finesse or shall I say that strong ability to get them to do the right work.
I completely agree. And as you've been a fan of Cowboys for as long as I've been alive, and so you've been a fan of them for the longest. You've seen all the ups and downs from we're talking about the dynasty of the 70s, we're talking about obviously in the 90s, so you've seen that type of football and what it looks like to have a winning team, through these different eras. So your point is strong there, Pops. And like you said, putting that hammer down, it makes a difference. And we're hoping that is going to continue to translate on the field. Now, we got another comment from Brandon saying that I say stay at 12. Listen, I think it'd be cool for us to stay at 12 as well. I don't know if we want to, move up potentially to get one of these guys. Because I will say now, maybe not super blue chip players at 12, but I think if we do stay at 12, we can get a quality player. Now, as we've discussed as well, and we showed in the clip last week that Jerry Jones said they're not going to be taking any players that are riddled with injuries. So potentially at 12, there are those players that have been coming off injuries or whatever the case may be, to where we're going to see what Jerry Jones says. If we stay at 12, but we'll see, like I said, to get one of those guys, a David Bailey, Sonny Styles, those type of players, I don't know. They're potentially going to be gone. There's another comment from, let's see, who we got? Horror Flick Chick. Appreciate you chiming in once again. Texas Hammer. Yo, you wilding with that one. Got another comment from Horror Flick Chick. Pops always want to whoop somebody. Is that true, Pops? How you feel about that comment?
Well, the thing about that is that when you're growing up and you don't do certain things you're supposed to do the right way or whatever, then you know how your parents would do whatever. The ones way back, how they would handle that or whatever. Because sometimes you have to kind of put a little fear in them so they'll actually do the right thing, and that's what has to be done to these Cowboys. They don't feel like they have to fear anything. All they want to do is water the star, and that's all, and make that money.
There you go. I like that. Put that fear in them. It because as we've seen, they feel like they could just do whatever. It's just lax. We're good. No, not for trying to do winning football. And we look at how these other organizations ran. Come on now, Pops. Enough to be said already with that. They got another comment from Brandon. Says Shotty is way better than Campo, but he's not Tuna. Man, listen, we won't even let's not even talk about the Campo days, man, because those were some awful times there, brother. There was some awful times with Campo as a head coach. You got another comment from Brandon. You get the best available player on the board. What we don't want is another Taco Charlton. You ain't lying, because obviously he was a bust. No longer in the league. I think he wound up washing out the UFL as well, man. I don't think he's even playing for the UFL anymore. But I mean, Pops, when it comes to the coaches that we have the coach we have right now, and comparing Shotty, I know it's kind of early, but comparing Shotty to some of these other coaches, where do you kind of put him as far as the other coaches that we've had in the past? I know obviously he ain't Jimmy Johnson. We have no idea about that yet, but just where do you put him? As far as coaches are concerned that we've had previously.
I would kind of put him like you just said. He's not a Jimmy Johnson, but I would put him kind of underneath him and in between. Uh, but let's see, my other coach that they had came from the Jets, Bill Parcells. I would
Yeah.
kind of put him in between those two and consider him to be one of those type coaches.
Gotcha. And so y'all know we're not saying going back to the 70s of Tom Landry. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just coaches of recent memory, y'all. Just to clarify there. We appreciate that, Pop. But yeah, so as I was mentioning with David Bailey, it is a possibility that we could trade up to get this young man. But we'll see. We shall see how it goes. I would be okay with us at 12. And Pops, as you know, I'm always a fan of trading down because you get more picks. That's just my take on it. So if I were to say, I would love for us to trade down. This is how I've always felt about it, because you continue to build up that draft capital, to be able to get more players, in those later rounds. Because again, Pops, my favorite day of the draft is day 3. So that's where you really build the team. Just saying. So rounds 4 through 7, but that's my take on that. Let's get this other clip up from Texas Kings 88. Sorry about that, not the clip, but the comment. My apologies. Let's take that clip down. Another comment from Texas Kings 88. Stay the course. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not like they haven't had any good picks in regards to, when they've stayed at that pick as opposed to moving around. They were able to get a CD Lamb to stand at pat. You know what I mean? So they have been able to get players, Pops, staying where they were as far as, that particular pick that they had. Instead of moving down, moving up, whatever, they stayed pat. We'll see. Got another comment from Brandon. We need aggressive. We need aggressive in the draft. Remember who was coach when we drafted DeMarcus Ware of the Tuna, pick 11. Yeah, I mean, you're right. The only thing is, like I said, I just don't want us to pick someone where they're injury riddled or we run that risk unless we've done due diligence on their overall health and knowing that they're gonna be able to come in guns blazing, to be able to go into OTAs or training camp or whatever the case may be. We cannot afford to have any redshirt players. We just can't have that, Pops,
Right.
at all. So I'm gonna pull up the next clip, y'all. We are done with the Cowboys offseason outlook. Now, listen, y'all. We talked about Puka Nacua. This is who this is pictured. Uh, Hell of a wide receiver for the Rams, Pops.
Yeah.
Bona fide All Pro. Probably we consider being top 5 receiver in the league, right? Remember we talked about situation where he had, civil suit against him, saying the anti-Semitic comments and then biting a woman, breaking the skin. Here's how we see that he's been checked into rehab. Your thoughts, Pop?
I don't know if it's certain players or whatever, but it seems to me that when you start getting the star status, you have issues that pop up, like the young man that was the receiver for the New England Patriots, and you know what that is, John, Stephon. So the thing about it is this: if this is true or whatever it is, we have to always go through that and see if it's true or not or whatever before we judge anybody or whatever. And sometimes these problems can crop up. They may be true, they may not be true or whatever. But sometimes you have to watch the status where you're at because there are people out there that look like or that want to take advantage of you as a star. And so hopefully we'll go through all of this and make sure everything's all right. And if he does need to go through rehab and everything, let him do that. But again, like I said, we have to. The jury's still out on all of this, so let's not be judges of that yet. So we'll see what happens with this case also.
And the thing is, Pops, keep in mind he's in line for a payday. Jackson Smith and Jigba just got paid. We also had Alex Pierce that got paid as well. I'm gonna get to that comment in just a bit, horror flick chick. You wild with that one. But just saying, he's up for a payday, Pops.
Right.
And I was looking at one of the sports shows, and they were saying Cam Newton actually was mentioning this. He said you don't want it to become where your problems outweigh your production, right? Because as we've seen, there have been numerous stops. Antonio Brown is one of them. He was a problem in Pittsburgh, but his production quelled all that. Tomlin was able to take all that for a while until it became where his problems were more than his production, right? Now, in this instance, Puka Nacua, right now, his production is over his problems. But if he keeps on his track, who's to say that those problems won't eventually be over the top of his production? Just saying. So now the Rams are in support of him, making sure he gets right, things of that nature. But as you'll see in this clip here, it says his lawyer has said he was in rehab a substantial period of time before any of these allegations broke with this individual. And then it says he's scheduled to be there for a while longer. Wow. So there's something there, Pops. He's not in rehab for nothing, right?
Right.
Now we got a comment from Texas Kings 88. Most wide receivers stay true to form. Divas, absolutely. Absolutely. What other position do you know of that acts like this? There's really no other, Pops, right?
Right.
So when it comes to that wide receiver position, you hear about them. That word, diva, is a constant connotation that's put on receivers more often than not on that position alone. You never heard running backs being called divas or maybe a quarterback here and there, but not really. It's mainly receivers. Mainly receivers, Pops.
Yes, sir.
So Puka Nacua, we're hoping the best for you, my man. But again, you're in rehab for a reason. So hopefully he gets the help he needs, and that his production continues to, to succeed his problems, that he continues to have more production than problems. Because I'm telling you, Pops, if those problems ever become more than that production, we already know what's gonna happen. Just saying. So anyway, we're gonna move on from Puka Nacua again. Wish you the best, brother. Hope you to get out of rehab soon, my man. Because you got that payday coming up, man. So we'll see. So next up, y'all. Next up, Kirk Cousins, as you see in that clip there, is now a Las Vegas Raider. Before we speak on this, got another comment from Horror Flick Chick. What's his drug of choice, y'all? I don't know about no drugs. Now, I don't know if this is the type of Tiger Woods situation or anything. I ain't heard of no drugs or anything, but just the whole situation with the woman and things of that nature. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know about any drugs with Puka Nacua, but like I said, hopefully whatever he's dealing with in rehab, he gets it squared away. That's for sure. But Pops, what do you think about Kirk Cousins now being a Raider?
This is gonna be the thing about this is that how many times will this quarterback get these type of contracts that he's getting? I don't get it. I mean, it seems like either he's got gold in him or own him or something or whatever. But everywhere he needs sends. Well, let me slow down. Everywhere he tends to go, he gets this kind of money, and I don't understand why. Because of the simple fact of it is, what has he really done to actually get this kind of money? And I guess they see something that I don't see, but we'll see what happens. Well, really, the Raiders need anything right now anyway, but we'll just see what happens with this. But I don't understand it, how he can warrant this type of money.
Now, you make a very good point there, Pops. We gonna talk about that as well. Um, but as you know, the Las Vegas Raiders own the number one pick in this year's draft,
Right.
which consensus is they're gonna pick Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana, right? So they're saying that this is going to act as like a bridge type situation where he's going to mentor, Fernando Mendoza. In that people are saying it's going to be a good move for the Raiders. It's a good move for the Raiders doing this to help him along the way. You got a comment from Brandon. Kirk Chains, Raiders going to the Super Bowl. Yo, you wildin'. You wildin'. That ain't happening. But got a comment from Horror Flick Chick. How much would you pay him, Pops? Pops, go ahead. How much would you how much would you pay Kirk Cousins? The way you talking, you might not want to pay him at all.
This is gonna sound strange when I say this. I wait to pay him till after the season because I don't know if he can actually if he'd wanted that much money, but that's kind of too high for me for him to get that. I would give him the contract he had because realistically he hadn't shown me anything that showed that he wanted the contract they gave him.
Yeah. I agree. Now, Flick Chick commenting again. Dang, Pops. Yeah, you harsh on Kirk Cousins. But it's funny you said that because I mean we talked about, we've talked about him before and how much money he's made and having guaranteed contracts, things of that nature. But the funny thing is that he's becoming a part of the team. I did not see this happening, honestly, Pops, with the fact that Fernando Mendoza is pretty much a lock to go to the Raiders with the number one overall pick, right?
Right.
So again, it's going to be a bridge situation, but we'll see. Now, ultimately, as you'll see in the clip there, it's a 1-year, fully guaranteed $20 million deal, right? So looking to mentor him for just a year. You got a comment from Brandon. Kirk Cousins plays like a poor man's Tony Romo with Dak's money. Okay, good point. Good point there. Now, I would venture to say Tony Romo is definitely much better than Kirk Cousins, but as you said, poor man's Tony Romo. Appreciate that. The thing is, he hasn't really won anything, as you mentioned, Pops. He hasn't really shown that he deserves the money, things of that nature. Now, we're not in anybody's bag. Get your money. We want you to get your money, right, Pops? We want you to get paid. There's no problem. But I mean, goodness, man, you gotta do some things to really get that money. But We're going to go to this next clip, Pop, because you touched on something, and it's got something to do with Kirk Cousins and what you said about his money. How much money has Kirk Cousins made? Well, here's a clip that shows you. So, as you see, his first stint with with the Raiders, his first contract, obviously, rookie deal. We see what he made, right? And we see what he made, in the years after, and the years after with Minnesota, and then what he made with Atlanta, and now what he's making with the Raiders. Kirk Cousins is the third highest earner in NFL history. Talk about it, Pops. Give me your thoughts. I'd love to hear them.
Well, I'm trying to, again, it's kind of hard to fathom the fact of a quarterback that has not done well. He's played well at times, and he's gotten to the playoffs and done that or whatever, but he still has not won a Super Bowl or anything like that. And I'm trying to figure out how you said he was going to be on a 1-year contract, and I still don't understand how that warrants that contract to be that much money until he actually proves that he can do better. Well, now he's not going to prove it anyway. He's more or less a mentor or whatever. But again, I say, how can you justify him getting that kind of money and he does not have a Super Bowl ring on?
We got these comments from Horror Flick. Chick, go and put them up there on the screen for me. Said Pop said that's too much, and then let's look at the next one. So Kirk ain't in your top 5, Pops. LOL. Pops, is he one of your top 5 quarterbacks?
He's in the bottom top 5.
Say it one more time.
He's in the bottom top 5.
Understood, Pops. So yeah, it's funny. Like I said, we again, when I try to prevent anyone from getting the bag, get your bag, please. But
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins has been getting it as he is the third highest earner in NFL history, y'all. That's insane. Insane. Get your money, man. Get your money, Kirk Cousins. Moving on, y'all. Moving on. So, as y'all know, I have stated numerous times, whenever we have issues in the NFC East, whether that's with I see y'all comments. Believe me, I'm gonna get to them, y'all. I appreciate y'all. But anytime it comes to the other teams in the NFC East and them having issues or whatever, I'm always a fan, Pops. I'm always a fan of that. Please keep having those problems. So in the next clip, y'all, y'all see the caption there. Friction in Philly. And it's with that young man right there, Jalen Hurts. So, Pops, a story came out a few days ago on ESPN talking about how now Jalen Hurts is now at a crossroads with the Philadelphia Eagles organization. Now, this is the same quarterback that has led them to 5 straight playoff appearances, 2 straight NFC East titles, which we know that it had been a while since anyone had repeated as NFC East title holders, right? Repeated an NFC East title winners. That's really never happened until he's just done it. It's been a while, but he just led them to 2 straight NFC East titles, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and 1 Super Bowl ring. So, Pops, what's going on with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, sir? Talk to me. What's going on?
When I first saw him go to them, and people don't realize this, but when he first got there, and I think he was having some bad times, and they were booing him and all of that, and they didn't think he was the actual quarterback that Philadelphia needed. And then the next year he got better, and he kept getting better. And Philadelphia fans are fickle anyway. They don't know a good quarterback, or they don't know a good quarterback from Santa Claus, because they booed Santa Claus too. So anyway, my thing about this is that he has been the best for them. And I think because of the fact that he has not won what they wanted to win, and also they even probably don't even like the coach that much either, and they're trying to blame someone for that. And I hope it would help us if he moved on or whatever, because I don't know anyone else that could do what he's done in the past 3 to 5 years or whatever. So again, Philadelphia fans are fickle. They'll boo Santa Claus, they'll boo the coach or whatever. So go ahead and let them make a mistake. So I don't have a problem with that. If he needs to go, they want to depart from him, they'll make a stupid mistake because they got a quarterback already there. And hey, I'm going to say this is going to sound strange to you. Let's have him down there and trade Dak for him.
Pops, Pops, don't do that. We can't be talking like that, Pops. We can't be doing that. But you listen, as I mentioned before, anytime any other NFC East teams are going through it, please keep it going. Please. I enjoy that. I really do. Because as you know, I really dislike the Philadelphia Eagles more than any other team in the NFC East. I can't stand them. Now, Brandon, I appreciate the comment, brother. Let's go back to Texas Kings 88 comment real quick. Want to get that on here. Kirk's record 90, 82, and 2. And that kind of money, you're right, Pops, reminds me of that. Now, hold on, Rico. Wait, let's relax on that a little bit now, man. Now, Dak is the highest paid QB right now. I'm there with you. But I mean, at least if we're on the up and up here, Dak is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real here. You agree, Pops?
I agree.
Appreciate that, Pops. Now we got another comment from Brandon. Jalen Hurts gets what Dak gets all the time. Do good, all is great. Do bad, they want him out. You'll never see that happen with Josh Allen. Man, you are on to something right there. Pops, let's go back. Put that clip on the screen from Brandon one more time for me, please. Pops, he mentioned something there, right? So you'll never see that happen with Josh Allen. Talk about that.
Well, a lot of people think that Josh Allen is. I've got a friend of mine that he's a Philadelphia fan, and he goes back and forth with another friend of his. I think his brother is a Buffalo fan, and so he was saying that Josh Allen is placed on a pedestal and all of that, and given all kind of money, but Josh Allen has not won or did anything to really make him be one of the best. But he's got stats, but he still has not gotten them to the Super Bowl, and so we'll just see how that plays itself out. Because again, everybody actually judges the quarterback by the Super Bowls you get into or win.
Yep. Yep. And mind you, now it's hard for me to really say any good things about any other team in the NFC East, right? But he played well in both Super Bowls, Pops. I mean, he is Super Bowl MVP, right? He won Super Bowl MVP, the Super Bowl they won. And a good amount of people will say that he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl they lost to the Chiefs, right? So again, Pops, I'm almost losing my voice, but saying what I said just now. But I mean, the guy is not a bad quarterback. He's not.
Right.
But it's just baffling that he's having these issues in Philadelphia. It's crazy. Now we got a comment from Sydney. Let's put that on the screen. Sydney Daniels, appreciate you chiming in, brother. He said, "Pop's so disrespectful." Free, but for good reason. And I understand why. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's disrespectful in the sense that, especially with Kirk Cousins, like, yo, you getting paid, man, but goodness gracious, you keep getting these bags, but you ain't really showing them, showing the fact that you really earning these bags. Again, just keep in mind, get your bag, but yo, come on, man. Third highest earner in NFL history, Pops, that's crazy. It's crazy. But another comment from Brandon, same with Lamar Jackson, he gets trashed too. Absolutely. Now, mind you, Brandon, I'm sure you agree. Pops, I'm sure you agree. Let's put that back, that comment back up from Brandon one more time. I'm sure you will agree, Brandon and Pops, that Lamar Jackson gets trashed. Absolutely. However, I believe that the comments about Lamar Jackson are warranted because he has not shown up in big games. Now, Jalen Hurts has shown up in big games. Josh Allen has shown up in big games as well. Now, mind you, he hasn't been able to get over the hump with the beating the Chiefs or anything like that. And this past year was his perfect opportunity, Josh Allen, we're speaking of, to get to the Super Bowl because Lamar Jackson wasn't there, Patrick Mahomes wasn't there. He didn't get it done. But I think, really and truly, Lamar Jackson, the negative remarks he gets are warranted because of the fact that, like I said, we expect true greatness out of him to eventually get to a bowl, and it hasn't happened yet. Pops, your thoughts?
Well, I would give you this, that though there were a few incidents where he did play really well, and some of his own teammates let him down. And you'll probably remember that some of the catches that should have been made and that were not made or whatever. And we don't know the results. If those catches had been made, if Lamar Jackson would have been looked at in a different light, because there were a couple of times, like I still say, that his own teammates let him down, and so they look at the quarterback, and you the first thing they'll say is it's him. But no, all of that I wouldn't fault him for some of that. Again, if a couple of catches or a fumble or whatever was recovered, and the Ravens would have won those games, we would be looking at him in a different aspect.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Completely agree. And we got another comment from Texas Kings 88. It's gonna put that on the screen. Let's see here. It says just Dak is way better, but what has he did? Not even an NFC championship appearance. That's all I'm saying. You're right, brother. You right. You right. And Pops, as you know, that's the standard I hold Dak to as well. NFC championship game. If you ain't gotten there, we ain't got nothing to talk about. Sacks and all that are great, but as you've heard me say numerous times, NFC championship or what we doing? What are we doing? So you order something that takes Kings. You right. You right, brother. We got another comment from Brandon. Appreciate all these comments, y'all. Well, Dan Marino didn't get trashed the same way Dak does. Neither have rings, and I'm there with you. But listen, man. Now, Pops, he said a quarterback there that I know you are a big fan of. You would always talk about Dan Marino's quick release, things of that nature. Listen, man, yeah, Dan Marino, he ain't got no rings, but he's a hell of a quarterback, man. I gotta say, he's in my top five all time, no doubt. Pops, your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, you're right about that. But if we have to go down the line, because if you look back and if you go back to Dan, then you have to look at the Buffalo Bills back then when they had I can't think of his name now.
Jim
The point,
Kelly.
yeah, him, and so they didn't win it either. So again, you got a
Yeah.
lot of them back there, and you have to just kind of go with that. And they'll be judged on the fact that they don't have a ring or whatever, and so you just have to move on or whatever. But that's why we come right back up to this man right here on the screen and what he's done. And I really feel like Philadelphia, they've gotten kind of complacent, and they think now since they've done what they did, and they've gotten kind of spoiled. So maybe he does need to move on and let them see what they're missing.
And another comment from Horror Flick Chick. I heard you say something. Yeah, I did mention those. Mention that team in red. You know, I didn't think you would catch that, but yes, I did. I did say them. I did. But we won't worry about that. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving. Got another comment from Brandon, and let's see. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back real quick. Not from that one. Let's go to the last comment from Brandon, please. And the other Danny White, same thing. Now, Pops, I'll let you have the floor on that one because you can definitely speak on Danny White. Your thoughts, sir?
Daddy went to 3 championship games. He didn't get a ring either. And it goes back again to what I say. If you do not get to that ultimate game and win it, they will still think you are not one of the better quarterbacks. And it takes a lot of a quarterback to even get to those championship games. But unless you still win that ring, all of them will be looked at kind of a certain way. And I'm gonna put in one little other comment. I hate to say this, but I hope it's not a black thing.
Yeah, and I'm hoping not either, Pops. But we all know that typically it will come down to that because we always hear that they get most of the criticism, whether it's Cam Newton or Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick. The list goes on and on where it's just a constant thrashing of black quarterbacks. I'm gonna just be real with it. It is what it is. But we get so many more of those negative comments, from them as opposed to white quarterbacks. That is true. That is absolutely true. But got another comment from Brandon. Nah, it's not a race thing because Romo still gets trash. Yeah, absolutely. But if you look at these sports shows, man, honestly, it's like black quarterbacks do get a lot more flack. That is for sure. They get a lot more criticism, as we know. It's proven on these sports shows for sure, for sure. Well, we gonna move on, y'all. But again, like I said, anytime NFC East teams having issues other than the Cowboys, I'm all for it. So we gonna move on to another team in the NFC East, the New York Giants, y'all. And as you see, that guy right there, most would consider this guy, who is Dexter Lawrence, their best player the Giants' best player. I'll read the caption for y'all. It says Giants All-Pro defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence has requested a trade, and he will not be participating in the team's offseason workout program that begins Tuesday. League sources tell ESPN. Sources indicated Lawrence and the Giants have been through two offseasons attempts. I'm sorry, two off seasons attempting to negotiate a contract reflecting his value to the Giants over the last 3 years. But there has not been any progress per sources. Initially, there had been optimism. With changes in the organization, discussions could move forward. But now that they haven't, new Giants head coach John Harbaugh will open his team's offseason program this week without one of his best players. And like I said, that is their best player. There's no doubt about that. Dexter Lawrence is a hell of a guy, hell of a player, for sure. So, Pops, your thoughts on this gentleman requesting a trade, saying, I'm out.
I think I may be wrong, but I think it could be a negotiating ploy. And I say that because the simple fact of it is, as you said, we said they've got a new head coach and all of that, and the Giants fans love this young man or whatever. But I think that he's just putting it out there, and because he really hadn't had a chance to actually be on the new head coach, and so I'm thinking that he's just kind of putting it out there and seeing what they'll do or what they'll say, and trying to keep him with the Giants. Because, like I said, he hadn't even been under the new coach, and we'll see what happens with this. Because a lot of times players will do this, knowing how strong they are and what kind of actual ammunition they have. So we'll see what happens with that as it goes forward.
I mean, we did hear Miles Garrett saying the same thing last year that he wanted to request a trade, and then we saw he got the bag and he ain't gone nowhere. So maybe that's the case now. Who knows? Who knows? Appreciate your comment, Brandon. We'll get to that one. Let's go back to Texas Kings 88 comment. Says, I want him in a Cowboy uniform, but don't see New York trading him in the division. Hell no, they're not doing that. They would be, I don't even, I mean, I'd be shocked if they would do something like that. Now, I would love to see him in a Cowboy uniform as well. We got the comment from Brandon saying, so who gonna pay him? I mean, listen, if the Giants are wise, they'll go ahead and pony up, get it done. But again, new coach. As I mentioned before, when new coaches come in, new head coaches, they're not tied to the quarterback, and that goes not just for the quarterback, but any other players on the team. Listen, if you ain't trying to be on board with what we're doing, then you out. No matter how good of a player you are, I guarantee you, that's been the case for other players. That again, new head coaches come in and say, you know what, I need to establish my culture. Let's get rid of this guy, this guy, this guy. And some of those guys have been the best players on their team. And guess what? Who are you gonna get the most draft capital for? Who are you gonna get the most value, to start helping you rebuild your team? Well, you get that from your best players. The best players that are on the team, you wind up trading them, you're gonna get something in return to be able to help you build the team in the culture that you want. You know what I mean? That's just the bottom line. So Dexter Lawrence, I don't know, man. You might get your wish. You might get your wish. Horror Flick Chick chiming in, saying, would you fire Willie Beeman though? Yo, you wildin'. I mean, listen, it kind of goes back to, as I was mentioning before, with the production of a problem, things of the nature. But again, this is a situation where he's been dealing with this for multiple off seasons. This is before John Harbaugh came on board. But you got a new head coach again. He's not tied to any of these players whatsoever. And keep in mind, John Harbaugh has carte blanche decision-making capabilities because Joe Shane is basically just decoration. He ain't making no decisions. So John Harbaugh is going to be the final say if he wants to get traded or not. That's John Harbaugh. Bottom line. Matter of fact, Joe Shane is reporting to John Harbaugh. The GM of the Giants is reporting to him. John Harbaugh has more power than the Giants GM. It's crazy, right? But he does. So I could very well see Dexter Lawrence being gone. What do you think, Pops?
Well, I don't know if you remember a while back, and this is before Dallas did their little Super Bowl run. They had a player by the name of Herschel Walker. So If it does happen, it may be
Yeah,
the same thing with that, and it may take him a little bit of time to get the players he needs. But this may be one of those players that he can do that and get those draft picks and all of that or whatever to see what happens with that. But we'll just see what happens with this, and then see where the Giants go with this.
we shall see, pops. But like I said, I always get a good joy, a love and a joy out of seeing all NFC East teams going through, other than the Cowboys. So keep it going, y'all. Keep having these issues. I appreciate it. Let's keep it going, y'all. All right, so y'all, we go move on from the world of football to the world of the NBA. Okay, the world of basketball, y'all. And as y'all see there, that's Luka Doncic right there, y'all. Grabbing his hamstring there. So he is out for the rest of the regular season. And who knows if he'll be available for the playoffs. Now, since this clip came on, it came out that he is going overseas to get treatment done. That they can do more things overseas that they may not allow here in the States. So we'll see if that has anything to do with him, healing up a lot quicker to be available in the playoffs. But what do you think this injury does? And forgive me, Pops. Also, Austin Reeves is out injured as well. Matter of fact, LeBron James didn't play the other night because of foot soreness or something of that nature. So, what are your thoughts on the Lakers' chances in the playoffs now? Because they're in the playoffs with their record, but no Luka Doncic for the near immediate future, and then also Reeves is out. What do you think, Pops?
They're ousted in the first round, more likely.
There it is, Pops. That's harsh, but
Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, injuries are not happening at the right time for them at all.
right.
At all. You would hope to have this happen, early on, but to have it happen now is awful. Got another comment from Brandon. Appreciate you, brother. Grade two hammy. Full take 4 to 8 weeks to heal. Lakers are done. Hey man, we're gonna see what happens when he goes overseas to get this treatment. We're gonna see if anything special happens. But you're right though, man. It's a significant injury, you know. So I don't think sporting him being out for a while, and that does not bode well for the Lakers whatsoever. So here's hoping you heal up, Luca, for sure, man. Because you were literally on a tear with the stats you were doing. March was outstanding. He had an amazing month of March, Pops. So much so that catapulted him back into the MVP conversation. But yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. And the 65 game threshold, right? Where you got to meet that threshold in order to be considered for any of those, awards, MVP, All NBA, any of those things. So it's crazy. Got another comment from Texas Kings 88. I've been saying it with or without Luca first round exit. Luca who? Yo, spoken like a true Mavs fan. I hear you there, sir. I hear you. And I know you love your Mavs, Rico. I feel you on that, brother. And I know my pops loves the Mavs too. So I hear you there, bro. Moving on, y'all. Next clip. Staying in the road of the NBA. This man, Giannis Antetokounmpo. What's going on with Milwaukee Pops? Now, somebody's lying, right? So you got Giannis saying he wants to play, but then the Bucks are saying he's not healthy enough to play. So who's telling the truth here, Pops? Because my opinion is that they're tanking because they want to get better draft position. That's my opinion. But Giannis is saying, listen, I want to play, I want to play, I want to play. Your thoughts on the situation, Pops? What the hell is going on in Milwaukee right now?
The same thing you just said. The tanking situation is taking place, but it's in a different situation or whatever. And then again, you have to have different ways that you can tank, and that's what's actually happening right now. Is the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to get as low as they can, as far as shall I say, as up as they can in the draft pick or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's a different way of tanking.
Now, the one thing I will tell you though is what so they're under the Milwaukee Bucks are under investigation now by the NBA, and the Milwaukee Bucks organization told the NBA investigators that you know Giannis declined the opportunity to play in a 3-on-3 scrimmage as part of his, return to, action, you know, from the knee injury he currently has. So again, somebody's lying, Pops. Somebody's lying. And it's eventually is going to wind up in him getting traded, I think. I think he's going to wind up going to another team, whatever the case may be. I think that's going to happen, no doubt. I think it's just headed for a separation between Giannis and the Bucks. It's just time, Pops. It is just time. So we're gonna move on to the next topic, y'all. Pops, you're gonna love this one. I know you're gonna love this one. Who is that right there, Pop?
But without a doubt, that's the Flagg, man. That's Cooper Flagg. That's the rookie of the year. I'm already claiming that right now. Yes, sir. That's him. That's the man with the plan.
So, Pops, you see those stat lines right there.
I do.
51, 6-3, 45, 8-9, 25, 9-2. Then this 25, 9-2 stat was just last night. So you said he got rookie of the year sold up, Pops?
Yeah, he got it. There's no doubt about it. If they don't give it to him, they're cheating. Somebody done paid him off.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? People were saying that betting odds were going to Con Knippel, who's out of Charlotte Hornets, and then with this tear that Cooper Flagg has been on, he's back as the odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year. So he's been playing well, Pops. That 51-point game was something else. He is a hell of a player, Pops.
Right.
I can't say it enough. Now you know who I'm a fan of, and it's not
Right.
the Mavs, but I gotta give him his props. I gotta give Cooper Flagg his props. He's a real deal. He is a real deal.
Look at the age.
So,
Look at the age.
yeah, you're right. You're right. So, I mean, look, sky's the limit. And just keeps it going. He's been, man, these last 2 games have been something else to watch. I see y'all comments. You have my word. We're gonna get back to them. You have my word on that, y'all. Now we're gonna move on. To the world of college basketball. Now, y'all, listen. I really didn't want to put this clip up because that meant I made the wrong pick. Right now, Pops, I believe you picked Arizona to win.
I did, and that was really
Right?
worse than yours.
Understood.
Yeah.
But you picked them to win. I picked UConn to win. UConn made it to the championship game. Then they got beat by the Michigan Wolverines. Now, again, I'm a fan of Michigan. However, I just thought how UConn was playing, that UConn was going to, pull it off. And they almost did. They came really close. But no cigar. Michigan pulled it out. Michigan men's basketball team is the 2026 NCAA men's national champion. So listen, Pops, I don't know if I was a big fan of how the game played out because it was really slow, and it is what it is. It really is. But it really was. But it is what it is. Got another comment. Let's go and pull up that comment from Texas Kings 88, the last one there. Says QMP, you and me both all good. At least it was a game, not a blowout. And, like I said, UConn played their style, but Michigan was able to pull it out with, eventually, having a bit more offense than what UConn had, and their size. Michigan size, oh my gosh. That guy they got from, what is it, Spain? Oh my. He was something else in that paint, blocking shots, all that. So shout out to the Michigan Wolverines. Congrats to y'all. Now, the next clip, y'all, we're going to the world of NCAA women's basketball. And as you see in the comments there, UCLA Bruins dominate South Carolina 79-51, claiming first women's basketball NCAA title. So it's funny though, Pops. It's funny that South Carolina blew out UConn to get to the national championship game, and then they get blown out by UCLA. Talk about it, Pops.
The championship game was done when the South Carolina girls played, women played UConn because they knew how they got beat last year, and they wanted to take care of them and I believe that they actually did their game, or shall I say, they tired themselves out from that game, and it may sound strange, but I believe they were satisfied with that, and they didn't leave it look nearly the same way the next night when they played UCLA, and UCLA won the game more so than South Carolina did. And I'm saying again, the South Carolina Gamecocks wanted UConn bad, and they got them. And I don't really think they cared too much in the sense about UCLA.
Well, congrats to UCLA women's basketball team. Y'all did your thing. And the thing is, like they had five seniors starting, pops. That's never really the case. But they made it happen. Five seniors starting. They got it done. They got it done. Now, you mentioned UConn playing against South Carolina. There's something significant that happened after that game was over. You know what I'm talking about, pops. You know what I'm talking about. So let's pull up the last clip here that we're gonna talk about, y'all. Pictured in this clip here is Don Staley and Gino Auriemma. Now, Don Staley is the coach of South Carolina women's basketball team. Gino Auriemma is coach of UConn women's basketball team. Pops, your thoughts on what happened after this game ended? Talk to me, Pops.
I think it was the worst showing of sportsmanship I've ever seen him do. I think he was more so upset about the fact that he got did like he was done, and his team did not. They didn't play like they should have played, but South Carolina played stronger, and they owed it to them to do that. But I think his sportsmanship was the worst I've ever seen him do. I've lost respect for him as a coach. I know he's a good coach and all of that, but I don't like how it really showed the other side of him. When you're winning, you're fine. And when you lose, you're not divine. So, all right. So we'll see what you got to say about that.
Well, Pops, I agree completely. You know, worst sportsmanship displayed by one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach in NCAA women's basketball history. You know, it's unfortunate that he displayed that at the end of the game. And, you know, his apology was terrible. The initial apology he made was terrible because he didn't mention her by name. Now, Don Staley did come out and say that he called, they've spoken, he called her and they talked. But again, the apology needs to be redone, needs to literally mention her by name because she deserves that respect. She's a hell of a basketball coach, pops. Built a powerhouse program with South Carolina women's basketball, and again, she deserves that respect. You know, mention her name in that apology, sir. Seriously, because that was ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. So I completely agree with you, pops. Now we don't have a clip for this, y'all, but I got a nice question of the day for y'all. I'm gonna close out with the question of the day. Okay. The question of the day is who has the longest playoff drought in sports history? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Who has the longest playoff drought in sports, currently in sports, actively in sports right now? Not his sports history, the current active drought, playoff drought. You have any guesses, Pops?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys.
No. You got a comment from Texas Kings telling Pops, got to keep your integrity, especially amongst young players. Man, completely agree. But you said Dallas, right? You said Dallas
Yeah,
Cowboys.
yeah.
Texas Kings. Man, hopefully you didn't Google this, man. But yes, Texas Kings is right. It is the New York Jets. 15 seasons, Pops, and they have not been in the playoffs. 15 seasons. You know what that means? The Cleveland Browns have been in the playoffs during this drought. The Cleveland Browns have been in the playoffs other than the Jets, Pops. Think about that. The Cleveland Browns, as terrible as they are, have been in the playoffs during this drought that the Jets have had. Hilarious. Brandon, appreciate you chiming in. It's got to be the Jets. Yes, absolutely. It is the New York Jets. 15 seasons without being in the playoffs.
I was just kidding. Okay.
And QLC Network chiming in. Hell, I thought it was the Cowboys. Y'all relax. Please relax. But nah, it's the New York Jets, y'all. I thought it was a fun thing to see. Also we got, Los Angeles Angels, who were at 11 seasons. Charlotte Hornets, who are not going to be on this list for long. They were at 9 seasons. They're going to make the playoffs this year. Pittsburgh Pirates, baseball, 9 seasons. And then Detroit Red Wings, which was surprising, 9 seasons as well. That's in hockey, y'all. But yeah, so New York Jets. That was truly surprising. Got another comment from Brandon. But remember, the Browns got in the playoffs because they had Baker Mayfield then. Absolutely. But I'm just saying, man. The Browns have been in the playoffs during this drought, y'all. This is insane. I couldn't believe that. And out of the comment from Texas Kings 88, Jets make offseason new without trying. LOL. Sad. Indeed, man. I'm hoping that they're turning around though. But y'all, that's insane. 15 seasons without being in the playoffs. That means since 2010. That's when Rex Ryan was a coach and Mark Sanchez, all those guys, pops. So yeah, thought y'all would appreciate that question of the day, y'all. But listen, we gonna call it there, y'all. We appreciate y'all tuning in. And before I close this out, got another comment from Brandon. The Jets can't even make an interception with a defensive-minded coach. And we got Llewellyn Anderson chiming in. Appreciate you, man. Go Cowboys. That's right. Let's go Cowboys. But y'all, listen, we're going to cut it off there, y'all. We appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the support. And again, y'all, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're on all the platforms, your favorite podcast platform. We are there. So be sure to tune in. Again, thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. And until next Wednesday, y'all, peace out.